Okay, we are live. It's Friday afternoon in Empowering Extraordinary Women, and we've got the beautiful Deb Marven joining us today. So thanks, Deb, for jumping on all the way from Melbourne.
Oh, pleasure. So good to be here.
So we've only another friend I've met online in the COVID couple of years. Love your energy, and you've got lots of passion for life. So you're very magnetic to chat to. So we look forward to listening to you today and you sharing some of your life experiences and some top tips for us. So just a bit of a backstory for you. We obviously met through some business courses and things. And your life now is quite different to where you started off leaving high school. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about that? Obviously, you were in corporate for 28 years. Can you tell us what studies you needed to do or how you got involved with your corporate role?
Yeah, for sure. So good to be here and connecting with you and everyone here. So going way back then, man, that's a few years ago now, and I can take myself back. So I had pictured getting into the corporate world. I wanted to be a facilitator more than anything. And I'd done marketing and management at university. Actually, to be honest, I'd started with all the ologies, psychology, anthropology, philosophy. And at the time I was like, what's the point? Like, I understood that, the subjects had relevance, but I thought, what am I going to do with it? How am I going to turn this into a career?
Yep.
So I started working in retail and realized I loved training. I loved coaching. I loved all of that sort of stuff. So I thought, why not work at a place like Optus, climb up the corporate ladder and then become a facilitator? So that's exactly what I did. I started at ground level in customer service, spent a year on the phones and did everything I could to be a standout. And as I kept going, I kept introducing these different initiatives and people were like, oh, wow, that's great. That's great. And next thing you know, I became a facilitator.
Wow.
So yeah, that was really rewarding. And at the time I thought, this is my dream job. All I've ever wanted to do is facilitate. And there I was, customer service training, sales training. And my favorite part was the mindset work now, thinking back. Yep. I loved helping people shift their thinking and see what was possible for themselves, even back in my corporate days.
And that's funny, that's where you started with all your psychology, but didn't see a future in that, but it came out anyway.
It came out over time. So I loved that. So I became a facilitator and I would spend 5 to 6 weeks with a group of salespeople, teach them all the computer systems, which blows me away now that I train computer systems because that is not my gig. And then I do, the customer service, the sales, and I'd take them out onto the floor and together we'd sell and I'd be like jumping up and down, yay, we got a sale. So that was really my corporate experience. And then I managed the trainers and, I climbed the corporate ladder and I thought that for me was the ultimate climbing that corporate ladder.
And can I ask what age you were by about then?
So by that stage, I was in my mid-20s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I climbed the corporate ladder. I was enjoying the work, but I thought I did a personal development course. Actually, it was my first ever personal development course. And I did it because there were changes at work and redundancies. And we had this redundancy, this time happened and one person moved up, someone else was made redundant and I moved into a role I'd been in previously. So I was a little demoralized, like, why did I move back and why did that girl move up?
Yes.
And I asked her and she said she attributes it 90% to this personal development thing.
Wow.
What is that? I'm like, whatever it is, I want to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and did my first personal development course. And that was huge for me because I started to see that I had a choice how I see the world. I have a choice how I respond to things. And I also realized that I want to be in the community space. I want to help people. We did one of these exercises where they get you to look at where do you want to be 60 years from now? And it became really apparent to me that what was missing was community. And so I came back after that course and I started introducing prison training into Optus. So I had staff going out and working with these girls as they were rehabilitating back into society. I had people coming into Optus, not saying they were, from the prison at the time. They were just, we worked out an arrangement, but they would come in. I'd get to see these corporate people, like they'd bring out their beautiful, soft and tender side and be helping these. I remember this one guy, he was teaching this girl how to print. So they'd print together and then they'd walk to the printer and come back. So these were my corporate experiences.
Wow.
So I did that. Yeah. And that was amazing.
Wow. And so you rolled on a few years and you suffered or experienced chronic fatigue syndrome.
Yes.
How did you get to that point? Because for everybody, it's very different at what point that their body's overloaded and they can't cope. Obviously, you were driving hard with career. Would you attribute that as what led to it, or have you got a backstory behind that?
So I was definitely pushing. By that stage, I'd moved into the community space through Optus. And I can honestly say at that point, I felt I was in my dream job. I was linking schools and high needs schools and corporates and setting up mentoring programs. So I loved it. I got to see the corporates at their most inspired and helping these kids who often had never met people from the corporate world before. But as you say, exactly, Samantha, I was pushing. I was go, go, go. I thought I was really balanced at the time because I did my morning meditation, but I was very driven, career focused. And I don't know about you guys out there, but for me, like, it's really been an art learning to switch off. Yeah, the brain just goes on and on. And I got to a point, I remember I was about 3 years down the track in this job. I'm sitting in my car and that's usually the point where I go, what's next? What's different? And I sat in the car, looked up to the powers above, whatever we call them. For some it's God, for some it's the universe. For me, it was the universe. And I said, what's next? There's something that's next. I love this, but what's next? And the next thing you know, I discover these lumps on my neck. And I went to the doctor, and I laugh now when I think about it because I had my watch and I'm like, quick, I've got a meeting. Just sort this out and let me get back to work. So
don't slow me down.
Don't slow me down. I'm on a mission.
I'm like an Energizer bunny, like, which is what some people have called me. It's like a go, 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 never stop until the battery.
Totally. I can see that in you too, right? So it's a beautiful thing. However, it's nice to just stop, and I had to learn to stop. So went to the doctor, as I said, ended up getting the diagnosis that I had glandular fever. And at that point, I was so on, and I was so in my head, not my body. But as the days and weeks progressed, I started to feel this tiredness in my body, real tiredness, like an ever-ready battery that's like getting slower and slower until literally I had just about nothing left.
Wow.
So even getting to the letterbox was hard work, having a shower.
Can I ask, from when you first noticed something was wrong until you got to that absolute rock bottom, what was the time frame for that for you?
Very small, actually. So I got diagnosed within about a week, the energy was gone. So different to a lot of people who have a progressive situation, mine was, as soon as I was given the diagnosis, because that was when the lumps had come up, the body just decided, that's it. I've had enough. You're done, girl. You need to stop.
Wow.
And so every part of me resisted that.
Yeah, I'm a bit older than you, and I know going through high school, glandular fever was something that was quite common for the teenagers to get. And I never knew I had it, and I did all my sport, got the usual coughs and colds as we do, mixing with everybody. And it wasn't until later on that in my 20s, the doctor said to me, have you had glandular fever? I said, I don't know. Not that I know of.
Interesting.
And so they tested me and said, yes, you've had it. So every time I get run down, and this is what happened when we were talking about, and I mentioned it in a couple of my posts, that once my middle daughter got COVID, it was about over a month ago. None of us got it. The rest of us three didn't get it at all. She was really cooked for a few days, then sort of mellowed out, and none of us got it. But I felt the fatigue there, and I felt like something was off. So I just backed right off because I know the symptoms. I get flare-ups maybe once or twice a year for the glandular fever when I'm pushing too hard and I'm not doing my usual routine. So it's, with experience, you can actually start to identify those symptoms. But when it hits you first time, you have no idea. Like
you have no idea, and that's so great to be able to identify it, before it comes on, so you can change. And I've had to learn.
And I now can, I can
my
adjust
body as well.
Switch my diet, reduce right back my exercise, and I've got a routine I go, and I held off COVID for like 4 weeks.
Right.
Which was amazing. So getting back to you, once you ended up on the couch, how did you go about your recovery phase? What did you do that helped you pick back up?
So I worked out, for me, my way of surviving life was always taking action, right? Something's not working, take the steps, do the thing, achieve. And for the first time in my life, that model didn't work. Mind you, that model never worked with relationships, but it worked with every other area of my life, right? That's a whole separate story.
Yes, we'll get to that one in a minute.
We'll get to that one. But I had to work out a different way to do things.
Yes.
So this was the first time in my life that I thought to myself, okay, I can't take action. It's got to be in my thoughts. I've got to shift how I'm thinking. I have to shift how I'm being rather than what I'm doing. So it wasn't some 1 year soft week in, week out learning. It was this immediate thump of, if I don't figure out a different way, I'm just going to go down. My thoughts are going to go down. I'm going to go down this negative spiral. And don't get me wrong, I did, like, to have so much energy and feel so good, and then to not be able to leave the house. Of course that hit hard, right? Like, that's the reality. I had to find another way. So being typical Deb, I got myself into an online business. I was selling international packages in the middle of the night to countries all around the world. But that was just helping me just survive, give myself something to do from bed that I could do.
And the time frame obviously wasn't extensive like corporate hours, so you were able to get pockets of income in that time frame then.
Yeah, I had to leave my job. So when all this happened, I quit my job a few months down the track, had broken up with a boyfriend. And so this was all happening at the same time. So it was huge. It was really huge with all of that happening at once. So yeah, I had to work out, how do I get another income? Because I'm just giving money out to everything, because I was trying all the healing modalities. Here's the thing, I knew that I was here to be a healthy person. I just knew I wasn't here to live a life of sickness. And, you know, I know that's sensitive to hear for some people. If I share that in too much of the chronic fatigue community, that can be triggering. But I'm only sharing what's at my core, in my heart. Like, I just knew, I know that whatever comes up in my life, I will find a way to work through it. I just know that deep inside my soul. Yeah. So I tried this. I literally tried probably 15 different things, you know, certain tablets, iron infusions, qigong, you name it. I drank a liquid whole food drink, which was amazing. I worked with an exercise physiologist, which was phenomenal. And I did emotional work on myself and cleared stuff, because I'm a strong believer that, you know, it's all those layers. Any sickness comes down to your emotional state, what's happening physically, and what you're putting into your body. So I worked on all of those different levels and just crossed my fingers that something was going to work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And from your perspective, in retrospect, what would you think was the was it a combination, or do you believe there was one area that was maybe more impactful for you out of all those modalities?
For me, it was firstly getting the exercise physiologist. I met someone who got it, who understood the condition, who understood how to take graduated steps. So for someone like me, and probably you as well, Samantha, taking little baby steps, you know, is not the default. You know, I wanted to take big steps. They said, Deb, how far can you walk on a daily basis without getting tired? I said, I can walk for 3 to 4 minutes, right? They said, I want you to do that 4 to 5 days a week. So they were the goals I was setting. I set a 12-step goal to get back to a salsa class.
Wow.
My first step was to dance for a couple of minutes in my living room. No, the first step was actually just putting music on. So I had to learn how to take little steps to achieve something, which was such a massive learning for me to go back. And now helps me with clients, right? Because not everyone's ready to take big steps, and helps me in business, helps in all areas. But that for me was big. So the exercise physiology, and that helped building up my confidence. So, you know, I do 4 minutes, and then the next week I was doing 6 or 7 minutes, and then I'd have a crap week. So I'd do, you know, I'd be on the couch for a few days because that's the nature of this. Then I'd go back to baseline, back to 7 minutes. Then I started bike riding. And I want to share this with you because you're taking me back and it reminds me, I'm so excited. I remember the first day I lived in St Kilda by the beach, and I was riding my bike, and it was my first day. I overtook someone on the bike after getting sick. Now, this woman would have been like 85.
And that competitive streak came back out. Oh, I love it. That's so funny.
I'm so happy. I'm like, this is one of the best days of my life.
But it's a combination of, it obviously it's that competitive side coming out, but to actually think that what you did had worked and paid off and got you to that point, it renews that confidence in knowing it's worth sticking with it. The baby steps, and I talk about this in other areas of life, like whether it's decluttering, whether it's mindset work, whether it's nutrition, exercise, anything, those tiny baby steps add up. And then like what you explain was hilarious, is then you finally get to a point where you go, yes, I've got this, I can do this, I've made progress. So
you're so right. Yeah, look, you know, it's a real joke about it. And yes, it's the competitive, you know, that little part of me was there, but it was, yes, this is working. I'm starting to get my life back again.
Yes.
So that plus the emotional work and just clearing stuff that was sitting in my system. I didn't even realize the emotions that were just sitting deep in my system, because I was always one of these people, put my big smile out there, life's fantastic. But inside there were things that I needed to work through and that I put under the carpet. And, you know, as time goes on, my body was not working. So by clearing that and working on my body and drinking this whole food drink, like they were really the 3 things. And yeah, and I actually write about that. I've written a book now, a book of hope for people that are going through chronic fatigue. And that's exactly what I include in there, those 3 things that really help me.
Well, what we'll do is we'll put a link to the book in the chat below, so that if anyone would like to look it up and find out more about your story and the details, yeah, they can and check that out from you. It's interesting you talk about the emotional work, because it is something that I've been working on for a long, long time for myself, and personal development and working on clearing all those emotions. It's like an onion and everyone talks about it. And until you've been there and you started doing it, people go, yeah, she's still going on about that. But it's literally like peel back a layer and you go, oh, wow, I had no idea that next layer is there. Peel that one back. Oh my God, there's more. And working through all that. And that's the thing that COVID slowed me down, was there was emotional things I wanted to work on. And I'd been taking off little bits here and there, but parking it up because I'm a bit like you and need to go get lots done. And it's like COVID had other plans for me. So it parked me on the couch or in bed for 8 days. And I said, well, you know what? if I'm going to be in this space, I'm going to do the work and clear the other stuff that needs to be done. So it's, as I say to everybody, work on it before you get stopped dead in your tracks, like you did, like I have. Keep chipping away, because the dramatic change in your life that can come about from doing the work is just incredible.
So true. And, you know, there's always that question of, do you need to go through the really tough stuff to get the learnings? A wise friend once said to me, her affirmation was, you know, I learned from everyone else's experiences. And I thought, that's fantastic, right? If we can take those learnings.
Yes.
But having said that, those tough times are so powerful. For me, when I look back now to chronic fatigue, you know, whilst it was the hardest thing I've ever been through, the amount I've shifted and grown as a result of that. Like, I'm not go in the same way I was before. I come from, you know, a really centered place. You know, I have my moments, but I've learned to stop. I've learned to be, you know, I went walking with a friend today. She was laughing at me mid-walk. I'm stopping and appreciating flowers. She's like, you're weird. You're like an old woman walking along here.
But it's about getting that balance of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. It is. It's finding that right balance. And, you know, I find on a daily basis, it's finding that right balance, you know, just the roles that, you know, we play as women in life.
Yes.
But those tough times can really serve us if we look for the juicy stuff and we find the valuable learnings in it.
And I also love it that you're adding in gratitude in just little moments. You're just capturing it rather than being very intentional and sitting down with a journal and saying, well, what's my gratitude points for today? It's actually, hang on a second, everybody. I just need 10 seconds. I'm going to appreciate and be grateful in the moment, which is beautiful, because life for me is a series of moments all put together. And yeah, it's just amazing when you can step into it really quickly and then go, okay, right, now I'm back to wherever I'm going and whatever I'm doing. So
it's so true. And I think often you have to start with the journal, because when I started doing this work, I had to write down what I was appreciative of, because it wasn't there. Might share this story because it links to, you know, chronic fatigue. I thought I have to work out how to find positivity. I have to find something good in this time that is so difficult. And someone at the time had said to me, find 3 things a day that you appreciate. And I looked around the house and I thought about my life, and I'm like, I have nothing, like nothing.
Yeah.
And I remember opening the front door and seeing these beautiful roses growing outside. And I thought, that is my thing. That's number 1, 2, and 3 today, because I got nothing else.
And as you said, when you first start, and it's like personal development, it's like exercising. You don't go to the gym and see a difference day one. It doesn't feel any easier after day one. There is a time frame where, and it's like journaling, or it's like the gratitude is, I can look around the room and go, oh yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. But to start with, it just all feels so hard. So for any members that haven't tried it and are like, I'll just pack that up and I'll do that later, or when I get to a point where I have to do it. So yeah, journaling, it is a great starting point, because it just starts to teach you to think differently and to feel and come back to a place in your heart. And it's like, put your hand on the heart and think about what's really been great today.
Exactly. And you're right. It's exactly how it happens. And then for me on day 2, the flower was 1. And I thought, oh, I've got something else I could put. Yes. And then day 3 and day 4. And by doing that, I started to find some things that were actually good in amongst such a tough time. So I think if you can find joy during our most horrendous, tough times, then when life gets easier, it becomes, you know, a piece of cake. It becomes much easier to do that once you build up that pattern, right?
And I've also found, I've also found that even though in the time that I've been doing all the personal development work, I've had some real doozies. I've had some really tough times come through. We thought my daughter had cancer a year ago. Our doggy was ripped apart, different things like that. And it's not being disrespectful, but you learn how to bounce back. You can still have your sad, teary moments, but you don't stay in that down space. You can bounce back quicker and see the beauty in things and have the gratitude. Then you may relapse back into those tough times, but you're more resourceful and you have better skills on how to process, how to cope, and how to be able to get yourself back on track so you can function in life, because we've all got other people in our lives that are needing us to be able to step back up and come back into that good space. In between having our moments of tough times. So learning all these skills and practicing them helps make such a difference in overall in life and how you process and how you cope.
So true. And even just to notice, I got up a bit quicker that time than I did last time. Yes. Oh, cool. Wow, I'm getting stronger. So noticing those shifts as you're getting up, but also really honouring yourself when you're feeling crappy and you need that, putting your jammies on and going, right, I'm going to let myself feel really crappy tonight. But, giving yourself permission to be and then use those skills you're talking about. Totally agree.
And so obviously you've got an amazing experience corporate-wise, and then you've added in these massive learnings you've had in your own life. You started a business where you help coach regarding relationships. Can you tell us a little bit more about how did you, I know your personal journey, if you want to share a little bit about that, and then how that led into you making that into something that you're passionate about sharing and helping others with?
Yeah, absolutely. So I love talking about all of this because I get all excited. My heart just jumps up and down. So for me, I knew that I was here to help people, and it used to be in the corporate world and it was in all these different ways. And after I had chronic fatigue, I ended up being mentored. I just want to share this part, being mentored by a woman, and I was involved in a program to help people get up after illness and disability and get their mojo back in life. So I had the corporate, then I got that side of things, help people get up and then go out and get jobs. And then while I was doing that, I was running this law of attraction group. So for the last 10 years, I've been running what was face-to-face before COVID, this group that was given to me. It had 3 previous owners, and it was literally handed to me because I would go to these events and I'd be sharing my law of attraction stories and how I'd manifested this and that. And so that was always a side gig for me. But I knew in my heart that I wanted to do it as a business. So I came out of chronic fatigue and I started feeling better and better. And I knew at this stage I was 37, coming on 38, right? All my friends are pretty much married. My younger brother is married and has already popped out a couple of kids. Trigger point, right? Like that's supposed to happen for me first, right? This is all the internal dialogue that goes on. And I was thinking, where the hell is my man? Why hasn't this happened yet, right? And I realized that I needed to do something different to create a different result. So the learnings I've had from chronic fatigue, taking action, I'm like, there's no point just taking action. I need to shift what I'm doing to create a different situation and a different life for myself. So I thought, I will drench myself in everything I can to learn and then embody, right? Because it's one thing to learn things intellectually, but then to actually, get into your heart space. You were talking about the heart space before. So I literally did everything I could, got a coach, found someone who had done what I wanted to do. And for me, that's such a big piece in the puzzle. I work with people who've achieved what I want to achieve. That helps me, and that's one of my really big strategies for success. So I did the work, and as I was doing the work, I also did an NLP course, neuro-linguistic programming, as a lot of you would know. And so I did this course and realized myself that I felt like I'd missed the boat. You know, that internal feeling that you don't tell people, but that you feel. And as I was doing this program, we talked a lot about and learned a lot about shifting thoughts. So I created a new visual for myself, and I pictured this beautiful man on a boat calling out to me, Deb, here I am. Where are you, Deb? Right?
I love it.
And as I did that, everything shifted.
Wow.
So I went to a wedding a week later, and family and friends were like, Deb, you're looking amazing. What's going on? Has something happened? Nothing had changed in my outside world, except in my inside world, I could picture this man looking for me. I'm like, wow, there's real power in this shifting thinking. So I became a law of attraction coach, got my certifications, did all of that, and I documented everything that I did, everything.
Wow.
And I remember the day I started feeling really excited that he was close. I could feel it. And all of a sudden, this website came up in front of me 3 times, and it felt different to previous times. So I went online, and literally within a couple of days, I saw his profile. And as I read this guy's profile, my soul said, oh my gosh, he exists. So everything about it just resonated, and I got in touch with him. He contacted me. We organised to catch up. We organised dinner. And so to tell you the story, I was driving to meet him. Oh, that day at work, I had this feeling I was going to meet him. I just felt it. I've never felt that before. So I had this feeling. I'm driving there. It's bumper to bumper traffic, crazy, crazy traffic. Tried calling him, messaging him, couldn't get through. Went through the city, still bumper to bumper. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be so late. So, Deb, just breathe, just relax. If he's gone, he's not for you. If he's rude, he's not for you. Maybe he's for you. So I turn up to the restaurant. Meanwhile, his phone had died. He's got the restaurant charging it. He gave me the right address, but the wrong address that day. He's going back and forth across the road. We meet on the road, and straight away, just as I pictured, we both knew how right it was. We go into the restaurant, we sit down, and the waitress, who knows he's been outside trying to locate me, comes over, looks at both of us and says, oh, you guys finally found each other.
Wow.
How right she was. So that's what happened. We moved in together in less than 6 months. We were married in less than a year and a half. We had our son less than a year later, who is now 6. Had my first few years of being a mum, and in that time I wrote the program, and then I thought, I want to share this with people. There's so many women and men, but I'm really passionate, particularly working with women. I also work with a few guys, but you know, how to deal with this time when you've got these patterns and you're attracting the wrong guys, or it's not happening, or you feel like you don't deserve it. I had some of that, a lot of that. I didn't feel like I deserved it for some unknown reason. So these days I work with women and I help them feel amazing in themselves, clear their stuff, accept where they are, and then attract their beautiful partner that they want, who can appreciate them like they appreciate themselves.
Yes. Yep. It's I love it because you talk about the energy and how I think energy is a massive part, and that if the energies are right, you just know.
Yes.
It's pretty freaky, because until you've had a relationship where that energy is like that real soul understanding,
Yes.
it's pretty mind-blowing when you get to that space.
That's exactly it.
We do have some members in the group that are actively dating or looking to date. Obviously with law of attraction, and you're talking about changing your energy so that you're projecting out the positive energy. Have you got any tips that you could share with some of those ladies, obviously, because they're on this journey? And trust me, having dated, it was it's been a challenge, it's been a nightmare in some aspects, and you're like, where do you go if you're looking for that really cool energy that you've got? And I've certainly experienced. Have you got any tips that you could share with the ladies?
Yeah, for sure. Firstly, I just want to say that you're not alone, because when you're going through it, and I know this myself when I was going through it, I felt like I was the only one, because your friends don't talk about it. You know, everyone acts like, yeah, I'm great, I caught up with this person, life's wonderful. I bring together this community of women who all look around, we're all totally honest and straight with each other, because that's the only way we do it, and go, oh, I feel like that too. Yeah, me too. And so so just know that you're not alone in it. Yeah. Then I think it's really worthwhile to step back and just notice what you're saying to yourself. I have women, a lot of them, who will say to me, oh, it's never going to last. It won't happen for me. Yeah. I'm too old. I'm too this. So noticing your language of what you're saying, and rather than just automatically believing it, which we do without thinking about it, actually questioning it and going, hang on a sec, I'm not too old. My auntie got married for the third time in her 80s and said she's now with her dream man, right? The last two, whatever. And I'm not saying it's going to happen at 80, right? It can happen really soon. It's just about, as you say, it's the vibrational work.
Yes.
So noticing that stuff is really, really useful, and not buying into it.
So the limiting beliefs is something that you're saying, all these different statements we say to ourselves, and we're sabotaging it before it's even started.
Yes.
I know something that's always a really good comment to have and to say to yourself is, how would I talk to my best friend to go through this process? Am I being supportive of myself as my best friend on the inside?
Yes.
Or am I beating myself up in a way that I would never let my best friend talk to themselves about it? And that's when you can get to that space, that's a real game changer, to think, wow, if people could hear how hard I was on myself. So changing that around and thinking, well, how would I support someone in this space, and how could I have a better thought process rather than beating myself up or sabotaging before you even meet the guy, let alone once you start, oh, it'll be like every other guy. Well, then you're making that happen.
Exactly. So even also looking at what's happening in my world, because when I speak to people on the phone, I meet with them for half an hour and chat to them, and we look at what's happening at an unconscious level. But when we look at that and then we look at the external life, they're often matching. So if you believe that men are, and we can go ... yes. Chances are men are challenging, men are whatever it is, possessive. You'll notice that they've often got those patterns, so they're attracting men that are possessive. So
yes.
When we can step back and go, what's happening in my life, and what are the repeated patterns that are happening that aren't serving me?
Yes.
That gives us more insight to go, okay, there's something to change. And sometimes we can do that internal work by ourselves. For me, that was something I needed extra support with. So I'm always a believer in getting help for those things that are repeated patterns, So those are a few things to look at. So noticing the thoughts, what you're saying to yourself, not believing all of them, and just noticing the patterns. And like you say, that's such a big one, being kind to yourself through the process, because we're all human, right? As Maya Angelou once said, and this is one of my favorite quotes, I'm doing the best I can, and when I know better, I'll do better.
Absolutely. Yep.
And
everyone in life is in that space. We are all doing the best we can with the resources we have and the experiences we've been through. Sometimes we're carrying on things that aren't serving us, and so just that little bit of guidance can help us rewrite what we want to be looking forward to, so that we're not going to keep repeating what didn't serve us in the past. And as you said, you just were going to go gung-ho with everything. It's like, well, this didn't serve me before, why am I going to keep doing it? So it's a great space when we can get to that. So you support ladies along those lines.
That's right. So anyone who's been in COVID that's like, oh, I don't want to get out there and date again, or you keep attracting the same type of guys. I've got a lady that I was working with that, I'll share this, was cheated on by 3 different consecutive guys. Like, it's heartbreaking, right? Like, how does that happen? So, you know, I worked with this woman and we cleared all of that. So that's a lot of what I do with people. We clear. It's like we create a blank slate.
Yes.
So that's gone. And just to share with you, this lady got back to me over Easter and just said, hi, how you doing? I checked in with her. She's been in this amazing relationship, as she describes it, for 3 months with this guy. And she said to me, she said, Deb, I feel safe with him.
Oh, beautiful.
And he's beautiful. And so, yeah, so I help people change their patterns, change their lives and attract the partner. And of course, with that, we're doing work on self. So with that, you're meeting the man, and we're also learning to love and accept and approve of the parts of ourselves where that's needed. We're all different, right? We've all got different things that, you know, areas that we can further develop and grow, but it's really appreciating all of ourselves. And when we can do that, we become magnetic for others, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it comes down to doing the work on ourselves and just keep doing a little bit every day, because we all have busy lives, and just keep on working. And then and I come back to saying, be resourceful, find someone to mentor you, find someone's content in social media, in books, whatever platform you want to go to. There's so much available these days. And I think there's even more available now since COVID, because everyone's learnt how to be able to put their content out there. So
very true.
On that point, you have a free Facebook group similar to this one?
I do. So I've got a group called Conscious Women Manifesting Abundance. So that's our Facebook group. We do Wisdom Wednesday every week, and there's lots and lots of activities to help raise our collective energy. So yeah, we'd love to have your ladies come and join us as well in our group. Yeah.
Sure. So that way they can work on their personal scenario of who they are and develop themselves. And then that leads into, obviously, how that can be transferred into their dating and seeking mates.
Absolutely. This group is not just for single women, it's for all women, right? Because all of us can shift our thinking, all of us can raise our energy. So whether you're wanting to attract a man, the house you want, you know, new best friends, whatever it is you're wanting to attract, come to our group. And yeah, it's all about creating that and supporting each other as well. And I was just going to say, if it's okay, because I was thinking about it in our last conversation, I find there's a lot of women who are like really successful business women or really successful conscious women who still haven't met the man, and they keep doing the work, but the man hasn't come along yet. So it's great to know and to do the work, but it's also about clearing the man slate, making room so then your beautiful energy can come out to the world, and you can then create the man as well as the business and everything else you're wanting to create as well.
Beautiful. I like that, clearing the man slate. I think I'm going
to the man slate.
I love it. Oh, classic. Okay, I'm going to jump across to a few of the questions I love to ask our other guests. And then that way, and we'll have some links for members to be able to come across and find you on the other platforms. What would be some of your biggest learnings that you've had in life?
Some of my biggest learnings: to accept me as I am, all of me, the flaws, the bits that I go, oh, I don't like that bit, you know. I'm an ex-perfectionist, and I love my perfectionist side because it serves me sometimes.
Yes.
But if it's there too much, it's going to annoy the crap out of my son, my 6-year-old, and my husband and me. So yeah, really owning and loving all of me, and just laughing at some of my idiosyncrasies, right? Like getting to a place where there's not this loggerhead fight, but this real true acceptance of all of us. So that for me has been a huge, huge learning. I remember the first day I called myself automatically without writing it in a journal and planning it. The first time I called myself sweetie, right? I'm just kind to myself these days. So learning, you talked about that topic earlier, to be kind to myself, or to notice very quickly if I'm being a bit of a taskmaster, which can happen, and then becoming kinder or becoming kind to myself. Yeah, they're really a couple of the really big things for me. I think with both of those, and also coming from my heart space. So I'm very aware these days, I come from here most of the time, and I notice when I'm coming from my head space, and I'll intentionally bring myself into my heart space, because when we operate from our heart space, life is just different. Life flows, life's easy, fun, right?
Maybe 45 years of my life living in my head.
Yeah.
Now I've come back to my heart space. Oh wow, the world's a different place.
It's a
So
different place. Yeah.
I think the sooner, and I try really hard to incorporate that into my parenting, so that my children are going to have more of a chance of, well, they see me in that space, but also realizing it's a different way of living. And I can see the difference in the last 2 years with my eldest daughter.
Yeah.
She was totally in the head after her younger years, and yes, seeing that difference and that shift just by drip feeding our children, by them watching and seeing and absorbing, they're able to learn from our experiences and be light years in front of us. So
I love that, drip feeding them. It's really what we're doing, isn't it?
absolutely. Yeah. And by doing these amazing courses and research and reading and trying things differently, not staying stuck, the impact we can have on them can be gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
So true. I love being a mum, and I love imparting this sort of stuff. Like, that's one of my favorite parts of parenthood, is teaching those, or drip feeding some of these ways to see the world, and then letting my son take that on and turn it into his own. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Do you have I know you had a quote earlier. Do you have any other quotes that you use as a motivation or to inspire you in life?
So one quote that I absolutely love is an Abraham Hicks quote: "The better it gets, the better it gets." So it's all about creating this positive momentum. And the more we get into flow, the more good things that happen, the more good things that happen, the more good things that happen. And we create this beautiful cycle and momentum, which raises our energy, not just our energy on a daily basis, but our default energy, right? So we're operating at this higher energy. We still have our dips, because that's human life, but we come back up to that higher default because we've got this momentum going. So we're honoring all of it. We're not being Pollyanna for anyone out there who thinks, because some people can, that doing this sort of work is living in the everything's fabulous, everything's great every minute. No, but it's getting in that momentum, honoring the emotion, and then coming back to that pattern of momentum.
I love it. Very nice. Yeah. What would be some of your proudest moments in life?
I'm proud of getting through chronic fatigue. I'm proud that I waited for the right man for me rather than just settled, because it's so easy to just go, you know what, everyone else is doing it. I'm proud that, at 41, I was able to, become a mum and did all the earlier parenting years, as an older mum. But I think when I really look at what I'm proud of myself for, I'm proud of myself for going from the little girl who felt like she wasn't enough. There was something missing, that she had to prove that she was enough and prove that she had her shit together and, all of that, and look good to the outside world. That now I've learned to be real and vulnerable, and I'm okay at showing that I don't have my shit together all the time. I, just as an example, yesterday I was working on my business with my beautiful virtual assistant, Karen, who's here listening. And I didn't have it together. And I just messaged her and said, hey, I need help. Let's do this and create this together. And, I wouldn't have done that years ago because I would have had to show, right, I've got it all together and all the ducks are lined up. So it's just accepting me for me in all of the bits and just, really standing tall and proud and going, this is who I am and this is what I'm about and this is what I have to share. And that's really my biggest achievement.
Beautiful. Very nice. From that heart space. Can I ask you what goals you've got for health and fitness and wellness in the next 12 months? Obviously, you've done a lot of work having come from chronic fatigue and right through to where you are now. Do you have goals that you set yourself?
Yes, so I'm really focused on setting health goals for myself. And in fact, a few years back after I had my son, my body was not working as well as it was in earlier years. I was at the point where I'd bend over and it'll be like, oh, that doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel good. So the last couple of years, I've been going to the gym. I do yoga every morning. And interestingly, I've just decided I'm at the next stage. I want to get myself a coach and I want to do more cardio for myself. So I want to lift up my heart rate. I'm not really doing that with my walking. I'm a bit of a slow walker. I told you already, I'm looking at the flowers.
Okay.
So I'm upping my game, and I know that I've got to do it gradually, but I'm stepping back and watching it, and I'm ready for what's next. I'm not committing to a marathon, and I don't think I ever will, but I want to lift again, because for me, what I realized, particularly on my body not working in my mid-40s and it getting in the way of life, I want my body to support me in absolutely everything I want to do in life. And that is just a huge commitment I make to myself. So watch this space. I'm going to be getting the heart rate up.
Can't wait to see what you take on and the challenges and the improvements. Sounds exciting. Fantastic.
I'm excited.
Right. Whereabouts can we find you on social media? You did touch on your group, but if you want to just go through any other Instagram, Facebook, personal page, etc.
Yeah, so my personal page is Deb Marven, Conscious Women Manifesting Abundance. And for those single women interested, next Tuesday, I'm holding an event at 8 p.m. Melbourne time, so 6 p.m. Perth time, and it's called Thriving Before He Arrives. So it's all about raising your energy, feeling good. We don't want to just wait till the man comes to enjoy life, right? Wherever we are, if we've got a man, don't have a man, we want to feel great now. So come join my personal page, Deb Marven. You'll see a wedding picture of my husband and I on the front profile page, so you'll know it's us. And Conscious Women Manifesting Abundance on Facebook and Meetup.
Beautiful. Okay, well, we'll pop all those in the chat so that if anyone wants to come across, they can jump on those links. What would be your top tips for living an extraordinary empowered life?
My top tips for living an empowered life is know that you've got a choice how you see the world and how you respond to the world. So just because you've been born into this family and this life, it is a choice. Everything's a choice, I had the choice of feeling like there were no good men out there versus believing there was this beautiful man looking for me. We've got a choice each morning. Do we wake up feeling like, I feel like crap? And that's not taking away from people that are going through physical, real stuff, but we do have a choice how we see things. When I had chronic fatigue, when I was towards the end of it, I was saying to myself, I'm a sick person who feels well sometimes. I started saying to myself, I'm a healthy person who feels tired sometimes.
And language is an important part of what we are telling our brain and our body. And just those little switches in words can be so empowering.
So empowering. Change the words you use, change your perception, and everything changes. That is my biggest passion. That's what lights me up, talking about that stuff, sharing, because that's what made the biggest impact in my life.
Fantastic. And just to finish up, where can we see you heading in the next 5 to 10 years?
Where will I be? Wow, 5 to 10 years. Do you know what? I'll be doing what I'm doing now in different ways. So I'll be helping people. We'll have loads of people that are married off. Oh, sorry, it's not. This is where I am. I'll be.
I love it. You got your stats to marry everyone off. I love it.
I've already got this picture of how many people are meeting their beautiful men and marrying them. So for me, I've already got mine. I'm good. It's living in the richness of life. There'll be international travel again because that's been put on hold, not just because of COVID, but also because of having a little one.
Yes.
Spending time with my beautiful family and friends, and continuing to have a business that feeds my soul on the deepest of deepest level, making an impact, helping people shift their lives, which people do for themselves when they're ready, but being the impetus, the help to assist them with what they're doing. So really a next step version of where I feel I am now in life. I'm feeling so grateful for where I am and what's going on, and look forward to helping more people too. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. We greatly appreciate you sharing with us. As I said, we'll pop everything in all the links in below if anyone's interested in reaching out to Deb and having a chat and seeing what her group's about. She'd love to be able to connect with you all. So look, thank you. And we look forward to following how you go with your 12-month health and fitness goals. Well, I'll be checking up on you and seeing.
Please do.
Yeah, look forward to having you join us again soon.
I love that. It's been a pleasure. Chat to you anytime.
Thanks, Deb. See ya.
Thanks everybody. Bye.